World at war. The war with Mexico. Good evening, everybody. Wherever you are, welcome to Real Deal Media's #1 late night show, World at War. I am Dean Ryan. Yes, I am your humble host and correspondent here tonight as we drift into the mysterious war with Mexico tonight. And that's the name of tonight's episode. We're going to be just kind of galvanizing together because so much is happening. Everybody's head spinning, and it's happening fast. Yes, when Donald Trump said he was going to do some major things, we said, wait a minute, let us tie our shoes first, because the news cycle is as long as probably about 30 minutes now, because that's the acceleration into the future we're going here tonight. We're going to be going and looking at the Mexican president as now major troops and major movement is underway. What does that entail? And the roundups of the legal migrants have now started in many states, are pushing back. We're going to look in the inner depths of that. And this isn't just affecting Mexico. No, it's not. This is affecting Canada too, and which is affecting us. And Trudeau speaking about it. The who's who over there, they're just Canadian knickers are in a bunch. So Aaron Cates will be here tonight. Inspector Cates will be joining us for some groundbreaking intel as usual, but to give us a real feel of just how fearful and frightened the horror of Havana is. And it's music to my ears when I hear that. So that's one thing. Also, we have some major Capitol Police chiefs now who are now talking about January 6th. And they're saying it's the greatest travesty that they were let go. Yeah, you got to see the footage on that one. Plus a major withdrawal from the WHO. Oops, spoiler alert. Yes, that's true. What will that entail? I can't wait. In some major military reforms. And if we have time tonight, some Real Deal International with some Zelensky demands segments. You don't want to miss that here tonight. Before we get broadcasting here, we are live streaming, I should say, on the Real Dean Ryan over there on YouTube, in Facebook, and Rumble. Dean Ryan TV on YouTube, and all of the rest. Okay. For Aaron Kitts here, let's get started with some headlines around the world and in your neck of the woods. That's right. Let's get started. Some real deal headlines, shall we? Well, unfortunately, it's very troubling to learn that the fires in LA have not only continued to burn Palisades in Hollywood Hills and Laurel Canyon. Well, just last night, we told you they're all over San Diego, San Bernardino. Well, now they continue to rage on, just in time for everything else happening in the revival. Yes, California fires continue. And I must tell you, there's some barbs being traded between Newsom and Trump, but today in Southern California, 80 degrees, just randomly, 80 degrees, as they're going to try to push the climate change, the global warming, you name it. But here's a little footage of it as I tell you more about it. Well, yes, the Hue fires now torch more than 5,000 acres. Absolutely a terrifying, fast-moving wildfires now burning out of control through Los Angeles, yeah, nearly 10,000 acres Wednesday, with more than 30,000 people ordered to evacuate. Absolutely. Yes, ordered to evacuate just weeks after dangerous winds caused deadly infernos to erupt across Southern California like we've never seen ever before, well, since Lahana. Well, about 31,000 people were told to evacuate, but another 23,000 people in areas where evacuations warnings were issued, according to LA County Sheriff's Department over there. No structures have been reported damage destroyed, many fire officials said, with about 4,000 firefighters responding now to the blaze. Yeah, one of the personnel said that it's a reminder of the night and Thursday morning to contain hot spots, or else we're going to lose it all. But it just keeps happening around the windy seasonal times now, which now brings you fire. Well, now the 80 degrees plus weather is not helping either, but it is a story that is never ending with no water and fire hydrants, no police chiefs who know anything what's going on. We have a war at the border, but we have a war right here within California. And that's just a lead memo and just a sad state of affairs, very sad state of affairs. Continuing now, well, that brings us back to Mexico. Yes, the back to Mexico, remain in Mexico policies now in effect, as many people are waking up and feared. For what, you might ask? Well, let me tell you about it now. As Trump's border czar, well, he has his demands, and some of that is cooperation from state and local enforcement. Law enforcement, that is. Yes, Tom Hanman, who you've heard about and read about here now, President Trump's border czar, Tom Hanman, is set to work closely now with state and local law enforcement to enforce immigration laws and address illegal immigrations, which all began day one. The second Trump administration plans to intensify efforts to deport illegal immigrants who have already received removal orders. Now, Hanman also emphasized the need for partnerships for the state, local law, federal enforcement, urging public involvement, identifying and reporting illegal activities. But some sanctuary cities now, like San Diego, Los Angeles, Chicago, have taken preemptive measures now to protect illegal migrants by blocking the use of local resources for ICE and activities prohibiting city personnel from getting involved. Well, for instance, the Los Angeles School District, Unified School District, the biggest one in the United States, well, declared itself a sanctuary district for students, families, implementing training for staff to handle interactions with federal immigration agents. This is what the Civil War looks like. Well, here's a better depiction of it. Hear from Tom Hanman himself.
Public safety. It comes as border state Arizona introduced their ICE Act, would officially require the state to comply with ICE detainers, but the state's AG speaking out against the president's plan.
I also will not have any part of and will fight the attempt to set up what I believe are essentially concentration camps and family separation camps in the state of Arizona.
Here to explain it all, border czar Tom Hanman. All right, Tom, listen, before I get to these Democratic AGs, can you give me the latest numbers on the border?
Absolutely. Look, the greatest president in my lifetime, he's back. Because in 2 days, the last 24 hours, total apprehensions on the southwest border, 766. Compare that to the 10 to 12,000 Biden had at one time. CBP1 releases, 0. CHNV, Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela releases, 0. Total of 766 across the entire southwest border. That is a game changer. I also am insulted by the term concentration camps. Are you serious?
Yeah, they're serious. Get this now. Let me tell you a bit, just a tad bit more about this now, because these LA Unified Cities, LA Unified School District, the biggest one in all of the country, have less than 50% graduation rate, and that's from 10 years ago. And part of that is because none of these kids speak English. Just think about that for a minute. So LA Unified School District, Los Angeles Unified School District, has also now adopted a resolution. I got to tell you about this now. Bans the use of city resources, as we know, but they adopted a resolution declaring itself the sanctuary district for students, families now. And under this ordinance, the city personnel are barred. So if you work for LA Unified School District or anything close to, you're barred from inquiring about the immigration status of individuals or making arrests to help enforce federal immigration law. You're not allowed to do that now. They'll fire you. The ordinance also prohibits now city personnel from participating in immigration enforcement activities, providing federal immigration agents with access and information. So city personnel, all of them are prohibited from participating, or they're going to be punished. I don't know how lawful that is. I don't know how skillful it is, but to me, it's an act of war. That's right. It's an act of war. That's how I see it. Here's another thing that's an act of war. It's finally happening. Yes, it is. I knew this was going to happen years and years ago, but now we can say we finally have troops at the border.
Breaking news, the Trump administration will soon deploy as many as 100 active duty troops to U.S.'s border with Mexico. It's not clear which troops or units will go or what their role will be, such as law enforcement. However, the troops are expected to be used to support U.S. Border Patrol agents with logistics, transporting, and constructing barriers. The acting defense secretary is expected to sign deployment orders today. One of President Trump's first acts since returning to the White House was declaring a national border emergency.
Yeah, there you have it. Yeah, we now have troops at the border, 1,500. Can you believe it? Which now is our lead story here, our main story of the night is now ICE has arrested 308 migrants. Now we have troops at the border. What does this all mean? What does this all mean? Well, we have the Mexican president. She has a lot to say about this, but why is this? Why are they not accepting the illegal aliens back into their country? We have 308 arrested today, majority of attempted murder, child molester, on and on and on. In a coast-to-coast dragnet effort to the multi-agencies around the country, from Denver, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Seattle, Washington, D.C., you name it, Miami, they're all going after these people now. It was just what Border Czar Tom Hunman has promised will be a renewed effort to boot over 500,000, well, approximately 700,000 legal immigrants who committed crimes in the U.S. Sanctuary cities will not be spared, they're saying. And no word from Mexico on this. They're just going along with it, or pretending they don't know that older migrants are here, or they're just the poor is here in the United States. But now there seems to be an effort, and who's funding it, we don't know yet. There seems to be an effort now. New York and New Jersey and 20 other states now are suing to stop Trump's executive order, not just about the roundup, but now there's a new executive order blocking birthright citizenship. Well, at first glance, you're probably saying, well, how can that be? That's terrible to hear. Well, hold on a second. Well, now attorneys generals from 22 states, including New York, New Jersey, sued just recently in the past 24 hours to block Trump's move to end century-old immigration practice known as birthright citizenship, guaranteeing the U.S.-born children are citizens regardless of the parent's status. Well, now, roughly the 700-word executive order, and we counted, it said all of these things of the fulfillment of something else, about the fulfillment of stopping the illegal, what he deems is the birthright citizenship. Now, what is birthright citizenship? At the issue, the case is about it grants citizenship to anyone who's pregnant and has a kid here, to put it in layman's terms. People in the United States on a tourist or other visas in another country can become parents of a citizen if their child is born here. That's how that is. And it's claiming to be part of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. But we beg to differ, because the U.S. is among 30 countries where birthright citizenship is allowed, but that has to end. Why? Why is it ending, you might ask? Well, because of the baby cell, because of the trafficking. A lot of this is trafficking. A lot of these women are pulled out of these third world countries, brought here to the United States, become these baby making factories, and they sell the babies to the highest bidders. Isn't that the case? It's very disturbing. Well, now we have ruffling feathers, as I promised you, of the Mexican president herself, Sean Bon, who now calls for cooler heads as the Mexican border is now officially shut off. All the things leading up to it, just in the past 2 days, and here we are. And this is what brought us to the new war with Mexico. Is now Trump has now shut off access to asylum, plans to send over 10,000 troops to the border. Now we found out it was 15,000. That's right. Trump is preparing about 10,000 troops to send to the southern border today, where they will support Border Patrol agents under new orders to shut off access to asylum. And according to U.S. Customs and Border Protection briefing and document obtained recently by the Washington Compost, well, the order directs border agents to block entry to migrants on grounds that they have passed through countries where the communicable diseases are present now. Well, the Defense Department said it will send at least 1,500 additional active duty ground troops to the southern border in what could be the first of several waves of deployments. It's an acting secretary, Robert Selsless. Those forces will bolster about 2,500 who are already there. Now, other active duty troops with pilot military planes and assistant, they'll all be there pretty much. And it goes into saying that if the United States military is really protecting the American people from adversaries, foreign born, then they would be right there at the border. And what do you know? There we are. There you have it. And now, speaking of the Mexican president, she's not too happy. No, she's not. No, she's not. Shine Ben calls for cool head. President Shine Bomb calls for cool head as Trump sends all the troops there now. Presidente Claudia Sheinbaum called for cooler heads to prevail after Donald Trump's vow to impose hefty tariffs sent to the country's currency, tumbling on fears of Mexico will become a target of his administration. Well, we know China's there, big time, all over Tijuana. That's right. Well, Sheinbaum responded just recently as the aggressive day moves on. Washington caused the peso to weaken as much as 1.4%. So now she's speaking about it. Let's see what she says, and I'll translate for you.
Sobre los decretos, porque es importante referirse a los decretos que firmó ayer el presidente Donald Trump.
Signed yesterday by Donald Trump.
Quisiera mencionar lo
I would like to
siguiente.
mention the following first.
El primero,
The
que
people of
tenga la
Mexico.
certeza el pueblo de México que siempre vamos a defender nuestra soberanía y nuestra independencia. Es importante siempre tener la cabeza fría y referirnos a los decretos firmados, más allá del propio discurso. Lo del Golfo de México, más allá de cualquier cosa, lo establecen para su plataforma continental. Para nosotros sigue siendo Golfo de México y para el mundo entero sigue siendo Golfo de México. Nosotros
So defiant, isn't she? So damn defiant. I don't even know what to say, but this is a woman who is, Mexico is helping assist the poor of the poor come here. They're helping assist it all. And it's just, nothing to see here. More on that, but here's another development, because I can't help myself, as now it's official. The United States of America is officially out of the WHO, the World Health Organization. It's so true, and it feels so good. Yes, it is. Trump has officially withdrawn the United States from the World Health Organization. That's right. Among these slew of executive orders recently signed, the White House Monday, Trump formally withdrew the United States from the World Health Organization, saying the far-reaching pandemic monitoring organization had, quote, ripped off the United States. He says the U.S. is the largest funder of the WHO, which monitors disease outbreaks around the world. The U.S. also majorly contributes to the WHO's work, including collaborations with the CDC and, yes, the NIH on issues like cancer prevention and depopulation, just to be honest. Well, the executive order signed is an attempt to finish what he started, many experts have said. They said of his last presidency, but it's all but guaranteed to succeed this time around. Trump removed the U.S. from the WHO in 2020, but withdrawal requires a 1-year advance notice. What the hell is this? What is this, LA Fitness? It's a gym membership. You just have to write the corporate office. So, yeah, you got to wait a year. It's like Brexit. You got to wait 5 years and then we'll get out. Well, but Trump will likely have, if he is already withdrawn, disengaging from the WHO and without bipartisan agreement from Congress to overturn Trump's action, which is likely. The WHO will officially lose its largest funder, us, by 2026. Okay, so that means no more pandemics in the future. No more pandemics. They won't have the money to fix it, will they? That's how we see it. Another notable in the Real Deal headlines before we move on is, the Capitol Police Chief is now speaking about J6, the most deadliest day in all of history. Well, here he has a few things to say about it. Constraints. I won't show the video, but I will say he's saying it was a grave mistake to let these violent prisoners go, seditious conspiratorial criminals go. So there's a lot of riffraff who are coming around again and poo-pooing the action of it. But you know what? There was going to be action taken. You had the marshals who were going to get these guys out if the guards would not let them go. That is the word I got. But now let's get to some real deal politics, shall we? Politics. And don't we know it? Well, there's some major news now that a major shift in the military as Trump continues to do his sweeping, and I can't get enough of it, as now there's major changes with our military that is very woke, and very, very feminine, too, if I might add. Well, Trump's DOJ has now resigned several career officials, including one who pushed for Mar-a-Lago raid, General Miley himself. The Trump administration reportedly resigned more than a dozen career DOJ officials, including one who played a central role in pushing for the FBI raid in Mar-a-Lago. Well, the new assignments given to at least 15 longtime officials will see federal employees remain with DOJ, but in roles where they're expected to wield less influence than past memory. Yes. So Miley is one of those guys who's gone, General Miley, who is huge deep stater. And we know that Donald Trump's not a big fan of Miley. If you don't know what I mean, well, who remembers this one?
Airplane. You got a $29 million gorgeous helicopter. We had every type of helicopter. Many of them brand new, literally out of the box. $70 million planes. You mean you think it's cheaper to leave it there so they can have it than it is to fill it up with a half a tank of gas and fly it into Pakistan or fly it back to our country? You think, yes, sir, we think it's cheaper, sir. That's when I realized I was a fucking idiot.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Miley is a real idiot. You know what I'm saying? I think he's got it down. Yeah, the woke military is now in their last day. This is now in relation and on the heels of welcoming back all of the military personnel who were told to go take a hike when they didn't want to take a miracle jab. The purge of the top brass. Yes, well, Trump now takes aim at the woke military leadership, as you just heard. He has begun to purge military top brass, targeting leaders focused on diversity, equity, inclusion, and initiatives rather than national security or operational readiness. Duh. Administrator, for instance, Linda Lee Fagan, well, the former commandant of the U.S. Coast Guard, as we told you last night, she is going the way of the lesbian buffalo. Well, now the Coast Guard's internal investigation into sexual assault cases, all those, they're all being gone. The purge has sparked debate about the DEI role in the military, with critics warning of politicizing the armed forces could have dire consequences for national security and the feelings of all the trannies across the United States. Something we should all be afraid of. Yes, that's the case. Well, we have Aaron coming up on deck, but you know, that's going to bring us to some real deal Canadian news here. I have to tell you about this now because I can't speak about Mexico without speaking about Canada, because Canada is definitely in the conversation of Americans, and it's in the targets of Donald Trump in this case. Well, now Canada is ready to respond, they're saying, to Donald Trump's tariffs. Well, I'm not sure how that looks or what that feels like, but well, they're saying that Canada says it's ready to respond if Trump follows through imposing sweeping tariffs by February 1st. Top Canadian minister said Monday that Canada will be ready to retaliate after President Donald Trump said he was thinking of imposing 25% on Canada and Mexico starting February 1st. That's right. Trump has been threatening to impose these. Now we're thinking of 25% on Mexico and Canada, he said late Monday night. Well, the timeline of possible tariffs remain in question. Trump signed the executive order requesting a report coordinated by the Secretary of Commerce by the 1st of April. Go figure. Yeah, so Canadian Foreign Minister Melanie Joly, well, she had a jolly response to it by saying, quote, "We will continue working and preventing tariffs with our neighbors to the south." The Canadian leaders expressed relief the tariffs were not imposed on the first day of Trump's taking office. Canada is one of the most trade-dependent countries in the world, and 75% of Canada's exports, which include automobiles and parts, go to, yes, the United States. Yes, they do. And what are we going to do about it? Well, Trudeau, who, yes, he's still alive, well, he had something to say about it, and we're going to get Aaron's take on this first. But let's listen to the whorebag of Havana, and let's see what he's thinking as he puts his thumb in the air.
No one region of the country should disproportionately bear the burden of standing up for all other Canadians. We have made it very clear that everything is on the table as potential responses, but we've also been very, very clear that it has to be fair across the country. if the American administration moves forward with its plans on tariffs, it will first and foremost hurt American citizens and American consumers, but it'll also hurt Canadians. We need to respond in measured but robust ways to the American actions, whatever they are. We can't know definitively what our response will be, or can't announce what our response will be until we know definitively what the Americans are going to decide to do. We continue to hope that they will realize that tariffs on goods coming into the United States from Canada is just an extra tax on consumers in the United States. It's going to raise prices for consumers in the United States. That's not something that we want. That's not something that I think American citizens and consumers want. So we are united in wanting to move forward to make sure that these tariffs don't actually happen.
Well, speaking about this and a whole lot more of everything borders is the one and only Toronto's favorite son, Inspector Aaron Cates. Aaron, let's talk Turkey now. We're at war now. I think this is
yes, it's insane.
Aaron, I think the problems at the southern borders. I think this is Canada's problem too. As we become a little closer and we get close as study buddies here. What is Trudeau really? Are Canadians really rattling in their booties over this?
People are very concerned. Canadians are definitely very concerned, Dean. I mean, 25% tariffs within 6 months could cost Canadians about 500,000 jobs. It's absolutely insane. Canada's looking to also, they're looking at all but 100 products that they might want to put tariffs on themselves. Also, maybe shut down energy in the eastern coast. Rather than I just don't like the way that they have, instead of going and negotiating, and we don't even have a parliament that we can even discuss this and try to problem solve. Trudeau shut down our parliament. Right now, he's stepping down as prime minister. He intends to. He has till March 24th to come up with a new liberal leader. All of the new leaders are WEF members. Terrible picks. Chrystia Freeland wants to throw her hat in the ring. Mark Carney, former Bank of Governor of England, he terrible, another WF pick. So there's really no leadership. We're being held hostage, and without negotiations, without Parliament, and getting some seriously, Pierre Poilievre, I think he's come up with some sensible ideas. Daniel Smith has been the shining light for Canadians. Alberta is not really getting much from this deal. All the premiers have gotten together. There's 10 premiers of the provinces. They've gotten together. 9 out of 10 are against Alberta. Just hear me for 1 second. And Alberta is like the engine in Canada. I mean, they produce a lot of the oil. A lot of the revenue comes from Alberta. They don't get a lot of subsidies from Ottawa, and they're feeling the pinch. The last few years, the whore of Havana has been pushing the electric cars. They've been feeling the pinch with the pumps, the carbon tax. It's made life really difficult for Albertans. So they're thinking different. She's been the only one that's wanted to actually have a real negotiation. Firstly, when you're negotiating, Dean, you don't just start name calling to people. I don't think it's a great way to negotiate, especially with our U.S. partner, which we do 80% of the trade. So this is going to cripple it. But there's one more thing that I wanted to just add with regards to the tariffs, and here's the kickback that I'm talking about, Dean, that I wanted to tell you before, is that today in Quebec, Amazon just laid off 1,700 workers. Also in Ontario, Ford, who manufactures the cars, they're laying off 1,500. So I think it's not just the tariffs. I think President Trump has the ins with the businesses to bring business back to America. And not only is he going to put the tariffs, but I think the jobs are going to be lost due to the American companies coming back to America, because there's a lot of incentives to be doing business. So they don't need us per se. They're.
Am I allowed to ask? Can I have a question? Am I allowed to ask?
Go ahead. I'm excited.
No, yeah, I can tell. Here's my question: Are people in Canada, are they aware of why there would be a tariff to begin with? Are they aware why this situation arise? It's not, or do they think it's like Putin? He just wanted to go into Ukraine, or Trump just felt like throwing tariffs at people. Are people aware of just the poor security of the Canadian border, of how bad it is?
I think majority of Canadians are aware. I mean, President Trump has clearly said, we want you to protect the border. We want you to stop the fentanyl, the drugs. We want you to stop the illegals coming in. We have people coming from all kinds of Arab places, Afghanistan, Syria, Lebanon, all different Gaza, all different types of places coming into Canada. They're probably not as vetted. They can come from Canada to the southern, to the United States, and I think President Trump wants to put a clamp on that. We also got China, India. So I mean, right now we've got way too many immigrants here. We can't even count where they are. I sent you something before on Signal, Dean, where we have, I think, over 50,000 students that are in Canada. We don't even know where they are now. So I mean,
Wow.
our immigration is just insane. Like, there's just, the crime is off the charts.
So,
people are
all right, well,
struggling.
let's continue as time is short here. So now you have extreme cold, like we have some bizarre weather too. Extreme cold warnings issued all throughout Toronto, 35 degrees Celsius. That's pretty scary.
No skating for me today, Dean. I'm taking a break for the next few days. Too cold.
Oh,
man.
yes. He's an Olympian. You are. Okay, here it is. Here we have Prove Me Wrong. What are we looking at here?
Okay, so awesome. So we've been waiting for the last couple of years for our government. The RCMP has come out and said that there's a list of 11 Liberal MPs have conspired with China with foreign interference, and they haven't listed the names. Or 4 of them have been named, and you can see the 4 names that are named there, but the others have not been named. So somebody just put something on the Twitter or on the X, and here's a list of the names that he's come out with.
Well, let me recap. Let me recap in case people don't know. Is what was it, about a year ago? I'm not exactly sure of who, but it was officially stated in the Parliament of Canada, and you can add this and apply it to wherever you are, wherever you live. But they're saying that there are nine politicians in Canada who were financed and placed there by the CCP. Is that correct, Aaron?
11 that there's
11
foreign
excuse me.
interference.
Yes.
And there's no conspiracy. Our 4-letter agency has come forth and said that there are 11. The Liberal Party is blocking it from being named. And right now, Canadians, we're having a new election coming up, possibly in the next few months, possibly in the summer, maybe the fall, but very, very soon. And we have some people who've conspired with foreign countries, and we need to know who they are so we don't hire them again. We want to fire them. We don't want to have them back in our parliament when they're not.
Yeah, who's this guy here?
So this is Chris Farley. Doug Ford, Chris Farley. He's come up with this hat. Canada's not for sale.
Canada's not for sale. So what a S storm this is really rattled throughout the Canadian
I find it actually
provinces.
funny. I find it funny 2 reasons, Dean, because he printed that from his own printing company that he owns. And that's where he did all the COVID lockdown stuff, stickers, bumper stickers, whatever you want to call it, in the hospitals. And the funniest thing is Canada's not for sale. And what did I say? I said, funny that Canada's not for sale, coming from all the globalists who sold us out to China. So I think that's a really funny hat to be wearing around, all the globalists not for sale, when they're the ones who are sold us out. Here's what I was talking about before, where there's 50,000 foreign students listed as no-shows by Canadian schools. Isn't that worrisome?
20,000 students from India were reported as non-compliant with their student visas for not attending school.
Where are they?
So wait a minute. You're telling me that there's thousands and thousands of Indian kids that came to Canada somewhat recently, and no one knows where the hell they are in Canada?
That's correct. So you think President Trump has a reason?
Are you?
Dean, here's an article.
This is unbelievable.
Would I shit you, Dean? I don't think so.
Get the hell out. How come this is not being 20,000 Indian kids are missing in Canada right now? Students.
Go to the top of the article. It's 50,000, Dean. 50,000.
Are you? It's 50,000. Oh my God.
50,000, 40 foreign agent students, but 20,000.
This is not being talked about anywhere. Nobody's talking about this anywhere.
No.
This is, Aaron, I'm dumbfounded. I'm just, wow.
Yeah, the last few years, a few days, my intel's been off the charts.
50,000 Indian kids.
Jamie Roberts said they're working at Amazon. That's what he just said. A good friend of mine.
Okay. Well, I guess it's better than the Ganges River. Let's continue here. Look at this one. What do we have?
Okay, so
insanity.
Okay, so
and by the way, charge your battery soon. Okay. Shit. See, Aaron, see what you do to me.
Oh, you gotta move that
Okay, here we
picture.
go.
Doug
Yeah,
Ford's
here we
pissing
go.
me off.
So what do we
Okay,
have
so-
here? Today, immigration Mark Miller announced that the Canadian taxpayers will be funding $3,000 direct payments to
Right.
every adult refugee brought into Canada from Gaza, along with $1,500 for every Gazan child brought into Canada. So wait a minute. So announced that Canadian taxpayers will be funding 3,000 direct payments to every adult refugee brought into Canada
From Gaza, yes.
Well, what about all the poor? What about all the poor people, Aaron?
Yeah, we have 2 million
How come they
Canadians
don't? Yeah.
at the food bank are vets, very struggling. The homeless has gone up, crime has increased. We got major drug issues. Crime theft is insane. I'm posting every other day. There's jewelry heists where all these gangs, thugs come all at the same time, start going to the jewelry stores. Someone's going to get hurt, man. I'm really concerned, really concerned. We also have these protests every single week, banging away. Free Palestine. I got a headache, man. I really got a headache.
Right.
And how are they, it's gotten out of hand. No, there's no justice. Like it's just, it's getting out of hand, but it's okay. I guess if we're such nice people to
Well, it's in the plight of the protests where the communists sneak in and then the provocateurs, and then they wreak havoc. The oldest trick of the book. Here we go. Continuing now. Well, what do we have here? Can't imagine being these cops. Toronto police seize $83 million worth of cocaine.
Yeah, this was like about 1,000 pounds of cocaine, Dean, just was yesterday.
Oh my God, linked to a Mexican drug cartel.
So what they did was they drove
million.
They drove from Mexico through to USA got into Canada, and they got busted here. And good for the police to actually do a job like this. This was a huge, one of the biggest, what's it called? Crime scenes they've ever found when it comes to drugs and cocaine right in Toronto. Everything's getting out of hand. The carjackings. They're saying people are just coming up behind you and bumping you. Don't get out of your car. Leave your cars and the keys and start arguing and road rage. Stay in the car. Take your keys with you because they're going to have someone else come in and take your kid off with the car. It's gotten really out of hand. I've never seen Canada like this before. And, I always say a company comes from the top. If you run a company, everything comes from the top. So we have people at the top who don't really care, bad policies, DEI policies.
Yes, we do.
This is what you get. This is what you get.
Now, there's been a lot of talk of who's going to replace Justin Trudeau. A lot of people are saying Christiana Freeland. Well, here's a little clip that Aaron brought. I thought it was quite interesting. It has a lot to do with what we've been talking about here. Here it is. Let's see what she says.
A beautiful painting of a Canadian flag.
Not sure what we just saw there, but that was an interruption.
Freeland. Yeah, she's running to try and be the next prime minister with Mark Carney. But there's the Liberal Party is trying to put who's their head of the Liberal Party for the leadership race, and they have till March 24th. But in the meantime, the whore of Havana, Justin Trudeau, is still the remaining prime minister, but he has to literally March 24th. So she's at a rally, and her first rally, there is a Palestinian riot that broke out. What we find later is that these people who are rioting seem to be at all the riots, and she's laughing. I believe this is staged, Dean. I really believe this is staged. This is so sad, but this is. I saw another one where the whore of Havana was talking about Ukraine. They just happened to have a Ukrainian woman in the event or something, and she started speaking. Like all of a sudden, you just know where the Ukrainian woman is. You just know, like, this is all staged, man. At this point, Canadians won an election. We don't want a new leadership, and they're going to install their leader, and we're unelected. We're not able to vote for them, and we're going to have a prime minister that none of us elected.
Well, it sounds like you're Kamala Harris, your version of it. Now, here's another one here. I guess
actually.
Trudeau was questioned. Trudeau threw somebody in jail recently for questioning him right outside Quebec. I certainly love those type of videos. Apparently, this, just giving people a heads up. Rebel News, of course. They caught him, and I guess you want to describe this Aaron, of what we're about to take place here?
Yeah, if you could see, one of the reporters for Rebel News caught up with the Liberal Party. They did a retreat in Quebec at a chateau this couple days ago, and they keep going to all these retreats trying to save their party. And there's Justin Trudeau, the whore of Havana, meeting his Chinese counterpart.
Why won't you call for an election? Mr. Trudeau, why would you call for an election? Mr. Trudeau, why you don't call for an election? Why Canadian won an election? Do not touch me. Monsieur Guillon, comment ça va bien? Ça va bien, excuse-moi. Pourquoi vous continuez à nous refuser à venir à vos événements? Les Canadiens veulent avoir la comptabilité. Vous n'êtes pas accrédité. Hein? Merci beaucoup. Okay, mais non, parce que vous accréditez seulement les médias qui sont gentils puis qui sont favorables à votre image. Aussi longtemps que vous allez m'enregistrer tout le temps, je dirai pas un mot.
Evan, you want to speak on such risky behavior?
Merci beaucoup. Yeah, so basically, Rebel News, she almost got pushed down the stairs, actually. She was just doing her job as a journalist, wanting to report on what's happening at the Liberal Party convention. And at this chateau, I think there was like 110 rooms. So the Liberal Party is going to pay for, Canadians are starving, and 2 million Canadians at the food banks can barely afford their mortgage, can barely afford their rent. Everyone's having a hard time, paying for food, groceries, gas. And they're having a beautiful getaway at a nice chateau. And get this, guys, guess who the chateau is owned by? We find out it's owned by the CCP. That's a really interesting place to be holding an event.
Really?
Owned by the CCP,
How interesting.
Dean.
How
What
interesting.
about national security? I don't know.
Well, they own it. They're allowed to be there if they own Canada. Finally, here we have Pierre Peravalli, Oliveira Pieri.
I love how you say his
here.
name.
Well, we don't know what the name is. So what we're figuring out in the United States how to pronounce it. We're working on that. Here it is right here. This is what he has to say. He's coming.
First day on the job, President Trump signed an executive
This is
order.
today.
The U.S. government only recognizing 2 genders, male, female. They're unchangeable. If elected as prime minister, is that something that you're going to kind of walk in line with, or what are your feelings on that executive order?
Well, I don't know. Do you have any other genders that you'd like to name?
Me personally,
Yes.
I'm just asking more so if you're in line with what he is saying. Do you agree with what he's saying? Is that something that you would be locked?
Is that a woman? Is that a woman, Aaron, on the left? Is that a woman?
Well,
It's a man,
I'm not aware of
apparently.
any.
You'll see. You'll find out.
Well, that's a woman.
I mean, if you have any other that you want me to consider, you're welcome to tell me right now.
Well, there's personally, I am a man.
Oh, yeah.
People who say cis man.
That's good,
There
but that's
are people there who they say they're
Me too. I'm
gender
a man.
neutral.
No.
You're a man. Yes, there are people there who say they're
Have something in
gender
common.
neutral. Yeah, they
We're
say
all
they're
men,
gender
yeah.
neutral. They're
It's between your legs.
they're a trans person. That's something that you would recognize
What a
here,
moron.
whereas in the States, at least with US government, the way they're seeing
total
it,
dweeb.
there's only 2.
Sell out. He's getting his paycheck.
Too, but I mean, if you come up with another list, then you're welcome to do that. But
This
I'm
be-
aware of 2.
This
And
be-
as far as I'm concerned, we should have a government that just minds its own damn business and leaves people alone.
Ooh. Oh, that's tough talk.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
To name the actual genders. In closing, Aaron, we have a hard break coming here, and I know it's late where you are and cold. Any last final words here before
Yeah,
we
2
become?
things.
You might become the 51st state.
We might become the 51st state. I think President Trump, number one, he's going to deliver on his promises. He's looking into Panama. He's talking about Canada. I don't think he's going to come by force, but economic force. There's really not much Canada can do. We're like a 10th of the economy size compared to the United States. They really, we need them really more than we need them, or however it works, But the point is that I think people are starting to wake up and understand that this is a big crisis, and we can't even solve it, Dean, because our parliament is shut down. The Liberal Party looks like they're just all about them, not about the country. And I'm just going to leave with a quote, and it's one of my favorite quotes, Dean. You know me, I always like to get a little philosophical here. And
Hard
this is
break
from,
coming, Aaron. Hard break is coming. Hurry.
This is from Mark Twain. In the beginning of a change, the patriot is a scarce man, and brave and hated and scorned. When his cause succeeds, the timids join him, for then it costs nothing to be a patriot. Mark Twain, guys. And then I think we're all patriots here. Dean, myself, everyone here at
Okay.
RDM. We're so
Aaron
grateful to
Cates,
have you.
everybody. Aaron Cates. We have a break coming. Aaron, stay safe, stay warm, and we'll see you soon, neighbor. Okay.
Everyone be blessed. Good night, guys.
There you have it. Aaron Cates, everybody. Okay, we're going to take this quick break here. We have a long way to go, short time to get there. Focus on all of these questions I'm seeing out there and statements. I'm going to try to tend to that on the other side here. In the meanwhile, watching World at War. Don't move. We'll be back.
Real Deal Coffee. Because indulgence is just a cup away.
That's right. Real Deal Media is teaming up and powered by the Wellness Company. Dr. Peter McCullough's wonderful swan song over there. You got to do to fight the cancers of life. Just go to www.twc.health/Dean Ryan. Make sure to use promo code Dean Ryan for an abundance of savings for your exclusive ivermectin for when you need it, when you don't need it. But it's certainly something that is the remedy for so many things that's been hidden here. That's right. That's right. Still, it's hard to get. You're going to have to get it from all these places in third world countries. You just never know. So yeah, make sure to go. Just lovely. The Wellness Company, absolutely adore it. Also, there's a few more days left here as the New Year's sale 2025 is dwindling down. But I do have something really cool about it. And now we have, by popular request, we now have the Trump 2.0 shirt, all black. Wonderful baseball shirt for all of you who like that kind of stuff. Make sure to get that. But we also have one for the UK, Trump 2.0 for the UK as well. Also over there in Australia, we have Trump 2.0. And of course, yes, Canada as well. Thank you, Aaron, for modeling earlier. Trump 2.0 for Canada as well. It is the dark flags. I certainly love it. And we do see what we have coming soon. Melania is going to be making an appearance soon. I have a feeling that is. And a lot of people said to me, Dean, you're in the health business now. We never knew you were a doctor. And my answer to that is, well, if Bill Gates can be a doctor, so can I. All right. Just wanted to share that with you. Welcome back, everybody, to World at War, as we're still stay few moments away as time is dwindling down. But before I forget, quick show notes is tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is a special report for all of you out there this coming Thursday night. Upon word of hearing, there's about to be a huge file drop of JFK and his son, JFK Jr., once again, all the remaining files, Martin Luther King as well. Tomorrow night, we will be doing Real Deal Media Presents JFK Files live Thursday, tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern, live. We're going to go over some of the files that were already released and what we are to expect from the upcoming new release itself. I'll be joined by Ranger Buck Thursday evening, so you don't want to miss that at all. No, you don't. Well, we had a lot of people who were very encouraged to chime in about everything Canada, everything border war. I knew a long time ago that to take out the cartels, you declare them as you declare them as extremists for one, but terrorists as another, and that's going to give the presidential powers a whole new meaning. How do people feel about that? Is it violate posse comitatus? Many have asked. Well, let's find out what people are saying in the chats. Okay. We have Egyptian Prince says, go Trumpy Daddy Trump. Love that. Love that. What a wonderful saying. Thank you very much. Go to Rumble. We have, let's see here. We have Kenny 59B, who said, don't let some of these satanic Democrat libtards move to Canada. But isn't that where a lot of people Jimmy Kimmel's moving there. Jimmy Kimmel and like half of Hollywood, I heard, is just moving to Canada or England. And we're sorry. We're sorry. I'm very sorry to say that. But thank you anyways. Here's another one here. Rebel Mammoth says 210 rooms and the hotel is CCP owned. Okay, yeah. CCP is just crawling all over Canada. But Doug Farley or whatever, he's more concerned about America and their tariffs. But they don't tell the electorate why the tariffs are coming into place. It's just like this big elephant in the room, don't you think? Sounds like it to me. Dame Pam says, in regards to the newsman earlier, I really honestly thought was a librarian woman who works at the library. Well, Dame Pam says, cis man sounds like a trans that is a sister to others. Okay, yeah. That's what I was thinking too. Okay, here are a few more here. Here's Stacey Nelson. Thank you, Stacey, for being here. You also have beautiful trees in Canada. They have real strong branches. Some ropes hanging from them around necks, and them would be immensely amazing. Yeah, well, that's what trees are for, aren't they? Okay, don't piss Stacey Nelson off. He's got some nice ropes and trees to go with him. That's what I see. Okay. All right, we're going to continue. We got a few more stories left as there's some time left here, and that's going to bring us to some Real Deal, just incredible Real Deal International. Real Deal International. Just like yesterday, wasn't it? Just like yesterday. Well, it's now official too. There's a lot of official things to speak about. Well, but sticking with the theme of tariffs and the importance of them, well, we can now say that the first major tariffs were given and about to be given, but in this case, these ones are against China. Oh, yes. Donald Trump announced today, the past 24 hours, that tariffs will be placed on China. So in case you feel that you're just being singled out for being Mexican or Canadian, well, guess again. Now, as Trump has now warned that additional tariffs could be imposed as early as next week, this time on China, rather than just Mexico and Canada. That's right. Speaking at a recent conference over there in the Oval Office, Trump explained that the 25% tariffs he plans to impose on Canada and Mexico on the 1st of February, Well, it has nothing to do with renegotiating the existing trade agreement, the three countries, but it's all about the border and the flow of human trafficking, sex trafficking of children. Well, the same speech was also threatened, they say, that China will be considering a 10% tariff or receiving a 10% tariff on all of their goods from China, even the ones that break and are cheap. That's right. However, just a day before, is at a similar conference, Trump shifted away from the China topic, pointing out that former U.S. President Joe Biden left in place large tariffs that Trump had imposed during his first term. Absolutely. So what we're talking about is 60% tariff on all goods imported from China. That's going to bring manufacturing back to the U.S. like we've never seen, many have said. Trump also explained that at the conference that the U.S. receives too much fentanyl from China via Mexico and Canada. The tariff threat could pressure China to intensify measures against the deadly drug. He means business. Yes, he does. Well, here's another one who means business, but are we listening? That's the question. Are we listening? Well, I'm talking about Ukraine's Presidente Zelensky, aka Dead Man Walking. That's right. Ukraine Zelensky demands now the United States isolate from Russia, cut off communications. Well, this guy, he receives just hundreds of billions of dollars, and he thinks he owns the place. Takes his shoes off, drinks out of the milk carton, wears your bathrobe, sleeps with the wife. It's just incredible. Well, yes, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who's also the drag queen of Europe, he's now criticizing Western nations, including the U.S., for maintaining intelligence levels, contacts with Russia. He doesn't want us talking at all. His enemy is our enemy. Now, during this ongoing conflict, Zelensky also was speaking recently at the World Economic Forum over there in Davos, which you haven't seen. Beckham speaks at it. David Beckham spoke at it. It was quite something. Well, he argued diplomatic isolation should be used as a tool against Moscow. He emphasized Ukraine's refusal to negotiate with Russia unless it's from a position of strength. That's right, rejecting any compromise on territorial disputes. Well, Zelensky's remarks highlight an insistence on prioritizing Ukraine's interest, even as Western nations weigh their own diplomatic strategies. But Zelensky, he wants total allegiance to the U.S. Well, because remember what we shared with you, 9 different countries have rejected giving this guy asylum. He can't go anywhere. There's nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. Dead man walking. Yes, he is. Well, Zelensky's refusal to compromise could be Ukraine's undoing. Many experts and who are familiar with the matter are saying, Zelensky's unwavering stance on negotiations with Russia, when Trump wants to negotiate, is going to be his downfall. He emphasized that Ukraine would not agree to any compromise involving recognition of Russia's territorial gains. Even if all the allies in the world are united to demand it, he won't do it. Well, here's a quote in closing. Well, Zelensky insisted and said, quote, any attempts to speak on equal footing with Moscow, Putin, or anybody of Russian descent would constitute defeat for Ukraine. This uncompromising approach reflects how we feel at the moment. Until you hear otherwise, that's the message. Well, I don't think that's going to work out. It's not going to work out for him. Americans are tired of war. I almost got myself in one too, just all those years ago, and here we are. Why don't we field one more question here? Thank you. Here we have Rage Against Machine, who's calling for DEWs on Zelensky. I agree with you, Rage Against Machine. Good idea. We have eCash saying Zelensky's PVC jumpsuit has stopped circulation to his brain. Yes, it has. Egyptian Prince says, yeah, Trump will really listen to Zelensky. No, he won't. Yes. But I would love to be a fly on the wall there to see him talk like that to him. I would love to. Okay, here we have another one. We have Becky Pescatore saying, I would like to hear from your friend, Mr. Martinez, to speak about the thing on the southern border again. Yes, he's due to come back. He's currently, I believe, in France. That's where he's been relocating at the moment. But yes, I will get on that. Go to Rumble here. And yes, right, Chris Farley, indeed. Rumble here. We have Boda is a baiter in Canada. I love his video. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I'm sure he's great. Speaking of, I couldn't tell you one great Canadian show out there, a news show. I think that's why Canadians are going elsewhere, because it's really hard to find what's happening in your own country with your own Canadian media, independent or not. And the same applies to Australia, but be hard pressed. Rebel News is you have some compromised capabilities over there. It's hard to say. So, anyways, just opening my feelings. Okay, we have Michelle Drum says negative 44 with wind chill in Regina. Okay, not sure where is Regina. Never heard of it. Okay, we have Glenn who's here tonight. Glenn saying he's such a douchebag. Which one? There's so many. I can't even. Trudeau, yes. Okay, and finally, who's going to win this one here? We have Hammer Time who says, why do all these countries protect the ice wall? Not many people know about that, Hammer Time. You're performing calculus. We're still in algebra. But yes, there's an ice wall. I know exactly what you're talking about. Somewhere by the Antarctica that many deep sea divers have ran into it. And it really goes into what's in the middle of the earth. There's a reason there's these tunnel borings trying to get to the middle of the earth. We can't seem to do it. But a lot of people may want to, because maybe going in the outer space is more of a theory than not. And maybe it's what's within they're trying to get out. So we could be in a dome. I'm open to that theory. We could be very well be in a dome. It's a frightening prospect, isn't it? I think so. Anyways, that's going to lead us to our final thought here. Our final thought before we say goodbye. Well, before we say goodnight here tonight, a final thought here as we close the episode of the War with Mexico. My advice to anybody who is in Mexico, who is an American, Canadian, or other, is make sure you're able to get out of the country when time calls, because we're about to head into a kinetic war with these cartels who are being funded by the Chinese with weapons, armor. Just like the North Vietnamese were in the Vietnam War, it was China providing all of the artillery for these things. And I think we're going to be seeing that in Mexico, because these cartels have an arsenal amount of weapons, and not to mention they're being financially funded and groomed by the United States politicians and multi-billionaires, and even in the academia world. We're about to see a war that is not going to be CGI'd, because the brutality of the cartels is like we've never seen before. There's no Geneva Convention. There's no mutual respect for the family and the children. It is carnage. We are fighting demonic demons from hell, who just so happen to be in Mexico. So prepare for war, but also prepare to leave when the time is right. That's my final thought for you. Anyways, we will be back tomorrow night. Yes, we will. Before we get out of here, Real Deal Media presents JFK Files live tomorrow night, Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern. Don't want to miss it. And Ranger Buck will be there. And we might have a surprise guest with Jim Fetzer. Just unbelievable. Okay, so for Aaron Cates, for the rest of us here at Real Deal Media, I'm Dean Ryan saying thank you for sharing a bit of your night. All of us, I'll see you tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern. And meanwhile, never forget to stay tuned and always remember to stay awake. Good night, everybody.